welcome back here into my craft room and my YouTube channel, Kathy's Random Acts of Stampin'. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I'm located here in the beautiful state of North Carolina. Today we're going to be working with one of our new online exclusives. You might, if you're not familiar with Stampin' Up!, you might say, what does that mean? Stampin' Up! Has been releasing products that are not publicized in any of our catalogs, and they call them online exclusives because you can only find them on my website. So if you're not currently working with a demonstrator and you're looking to purchase any of the items you see me use, I would love the opportunity to earn your business. So you can reach out to me if you're not sure about ordering. Just give me a call. I'll be glad to help you place your order, talk to you about any of the products, give you my advice on anything that you might be dealing with. I'm always here to help. With all that being said, let's get started with our project for today. I love magnolias. I told y'all that before. So when this new stamp set came out, Magnolia Mood, of course I had to have it. And we have the coordinating dies, which makes it even more wonderful. So I'm going to show you, I don't have a prototype today, but I'm going to show you what I have in mind. A piece of, our card base is a piece of thick, very vanilla, and it's a half a sheet, and it measures 8.5 by 5.5 and scored at 4 1/4. So that's going to give us our, and it's going to be a landscape card like this. That's going to give us our card base. So I'm going to give this a good crease so that it lays down nice and flat. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a piece of gold foil. And this piece, now you can cut this out. Y'all seen me do this before where I cut out the middle just to have the frame, or you can use it as it is. It's totally up to you. If you want to save a little bit of that cold cardstock in the middle, I say by all means cut your middle out. If you don't, you can just go with it like that. Also have a piece of Night of Navy, and this piece is 4 by 5 1/4. We're going to emboss this. We're going to do some embossing, and then we're going to jazz this up a little bit by using, this is a non-Stampin' Up! Product, and it is on my online store, Amazon Craft Room Favorites, and this is Luster Wax, and this is in the gold color, and it is so beautiful. So let me show you what we're going to do with this. I'm going to move that over, and I'm going to grab my Distress Tile embossing folder. I love, love, love this folder. It's so pretty. It's so dainty and delicate. We're going to put that piece of Night of Navy inside. I'm lining it up with that registration line. You see there's a line across the front. So I'm lining it up with that line just to make sure everything is nice and straight. Close it up. I'm going to grab my large Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and we're going to run this through. Now, this is a 3D embossing folder, so the only thing we need is our base plate, which is our number 1 plate, our embossing folder with our cardstock in it, and our number 4 specialty plate. And all of these plates come with your machine, so you don't have to purchase anything extra. You get everything you need to do die cutting, embossing, and everything. So I'm going to shoot that through like that. Let's go ahead and get this out of our way. We will be coming back to this because we're going to do some die cutting. But for right now, we're just going to look at the beauty of this embossing folder. And look at that detail. See, it's distressed because some places doesn't look like it hit it at all, and then other places are very deep. That's the distressing. I love that. I think it's so pretty. So now that we've got that done, remember I told you we're going to use this Sizzix luster wax. This stuff is so great to use. It smells great. It wipes off of your hands very easily, and you apply it with your finger. What could be any easier than that? I'm just going to use what's in my cap, and I'm just going to swirl it around on my finger and pick up some like that, and then very, very gently, I'm going to just start swirling it. Look at that. Just in different places all over my piece. I can go and pick up a little bit more. Just like that. It just gives such a an elegance to your work. Uh, and I think this card with the Magnolia is going to be very much an elegant card. So I wanted to add some gold shimmer on it, just to kind of brighten everything up. Isn't that gorgeous? I'll have this product linked on my PDF tutorial along with all the pictures, the measurements, and everything. So if you are interested in grabbing a jar of this, it comes in several colors. You can just click and go to my store and pick it up. Now I'm going to clean my finger off with just a wipe, and it comes off really well. Just like that, my hands are clean. So I love it, and it smells like orange blossoms, so it makes it so nice. All right, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of Very Vanilla, and I'm going to cut this because I don't think I need it quite as big. I've got my Magnolia already positioned on my Misty, so I'm just going to need a piece of cardstock. Maybe about 3.5 inches. So let's cut that down. Let's go about 3.5 inches. Make sure everything's nice and straight. And what we're going to do, we're going to heat emboss this in gold. So I'm going to set this in. Before I do, let's do a little prep work on our piece. I have my embossing buddy, and I've got a brush, and just to make sure that we can get this done like we want it and not have embossing powder everywhere, I'm going to powder this up. And what this does, it takes the static out of your paper so that you don't get embossing powder where you don't want it. We only want that embossing powder where our ink sticks. And sometimes we have oils on our fingers and things we don't realize that will leave a little bit of a footprint on our paper. So this just kind of assures that we get all that off. And now we can take this piece of cardstock, set it into the corner of our stamp positioning tool. Something like that. And that looks good. So now I'm going to bring in my Versamark water stamp ink pad. And what this does, it's a sticky clear ink. And what it will do is it will leave an impression for our embossing powder to stick to. So I'm going to ink up my Magnolia really well. Close that ink up. And then I'm just going to bring this over and give it a good press. And I'm looking at it, it looks really good, but because I have it in this stamp positioner, I'm going to go ahead and re-ink it again. This is something you can't do if you're doing with a block. You kind of, one and done. You get one chance to stamp it and stamp it good. But with a positioner, it gives us the opportunity to re-stamp in the same position. As long as you don't move that paper, everything is going to be exactly where you put it. So I'm giving it a good press again. And I know you can't, well, you might be able to see it just a little bit. It is showing just a tiny, tiny bit on there. You see that? There you go. So now what I want to do is I'm going to bring over my embossing powder. My beautiful gold. And I'm going to go ahead and spoon a good amount of embossing powder over top of that. And tap it off. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? I'm going to do it twice to make sure we got it in there really well. That looks real good. Then I'm going to take my little sweep. This is just something I do to clean up my work surface so I don't have any embossing powder that would melt to my surface. And now we're ready to heat set this. So I'm going to grab my heat tool. This is the Stamping Up heat tool, and it is wonderful. It has two settings on it, a 1 and a 2. Anytime you're heat embossing, you always want to put it on 2. So I'm going to slide it to 2 and let it heat for just a few minutes, and then we will go ahead and put it to the paper. All right, so as you can see, we have that beautiful gold shimmer now. Isn't that gorgeous? So we're going to let that cool just for a minute before we go any further. But while I have this out, I want to stamp a happy birthday. And I have the happy birthday from the stamp set right there. And I am going to stamp happy birthday just right along the bottom right here. And we're going to do that as well with the Versamark ink, and we're going to set it with that gold embossing powder. So like that. Let's go ahead and prep our paper. And then stamp this right about here. Very pretty. And we'll bring out that embossing powder again. And right across the bottom, tap it off. Just like that. And then we have one more time to heat set, but our gun's already hot, so it won't take us long. So here we go. That was quick and easy. And this is all of our embossing is done. So now we need to do a little bit of die cutting. So for my die cutting, I want to pull out the Magnolia die, which is this one. And we are going to lay this over top of our image. Something like that. Once we get it pretty much where we want it, the rule of thumb is you don't want to see any white inside of your die. When I say white, the color of your cardstock. In this case, it would be very vanilla. So that looks pretty good. And I'm going to go ahead and put one of my little sticky notes, my little Post-it flags on here just to hold everything nice and still as we run it through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Now this time we're going to be cutting, so our sandwich is going to be a little different. We are going to need our base plate, our number 2 adapter plate, which is the adapter plate for cutting. We're going to need a cut plate and a cover plate. So we'll lay that in, cover it, and crank it through. There is our beautiful Magnolia. That cut perfectly and ready to go onto our piece. Now we have our little happy birthday, and I'll need to decide how I want to do this. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my trimmer, and I just want to trim out on the top of it. Like that. And this piece is about, I would say about 3/4. I think I'll trim just a tiny bit off of the bottom. Maybe I'll use my scissors. I think I might do better with the scissors on this. So what I'm going to do is I just want to go up underneath where the P and the Y comes down. Like that. Then we'll cut this off at an angle, maybe like this. And we'll cut this at an angle, like that. This looks a little bit longer up here. Yeah, that looks better. And just, trim it off the way you like it. That's the main thing. Okay, so now I think we're ready to go ahead and put our card together. So let's bring back over our blue piece that we did. We have our gold mat and our card base. We have our magnolia and our happy birthday. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and glue this on here. And I'm going to do this with just some liquid glue. Be very careful with foil. It does not like glue at all. Now we can take this piece and lay it over top, just like that. And I'm going to do the same thing with this. I'm just going to put some liquid glue on the back. Because this is embossed, I'm going a little heavier with my glue. I want to make sure it gets into those little nooks and crannies. And then we're going to lay this down, just so we have that little peak of gold around the edges. Give it a nice press. I'm going to open it and press it from this side. Just a nice little rub. That's good. Now I can put my magnolia right here. A happy birthday. Right about there. And isn't that pretty? And then all we got to do is maybe a bow or some sequins and do our inside. And this card is done. So I love this. We're going to pop this up on some dimensionals. So let me grab I'm not skimping on my dimensionals because this piece is curling because it was heat embossed. So I want to make sure that when it goes down, it sticks nice and flat. And the fact we're putting it on an embossed piece of cardstock. So I am going to grab my Take Your Pick tool. This just helps me pull these off a lot faster. Ready to position this exactly where we want it. And we could do it up like this, or we can do it sideways. I think I kind of want it to go like that. And see what I mean? The dimensionals now are going to make that lay very nice and flat. And this I also want to pop up on dimensionals, so I'm going to use about 3 or 4 across the back of this. I think 3 will work. And we're going to set this down just like that. And I'm going to check my ribbon and see. I have this, which I think would look cute on it, and it's kind of dainty too, and it is gold. So I'm going to use this, and I'm going to make just a very simple little bow. And I'm going to adjust my loops. With my snips. I'm going to snip that off, and then this. And I think I want the bow to go just about like that. Do I want it? I think I like the bow right there. And let me look into my embellishments and see if I've got some gold sequins. Is what I am hunting for. Those will be perfect. These are the pastel adhesive backed sequins. They are currently in our annual catalog. I can tell because I have a blue dot on it. My coding really helps me to be able to let y'all know which catalog to look in. So let's pull one of these. One there. And I think that is sufficient. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, we do need to put a glue dot on that. So let's put these back in. Find the glue dot. And I think for this one, I'm going to roll it up. I'm just going to use my finger and make it into a little roll. And then put it right on the back of my ribbon. And then stick it right there. Now for our inside, we're going to need a Night of Navy matte. So let's grab our scrap that we had left over, and we'll cut a mat from it. And I want it to be 4 5 1/4. And then we're going to need a piece of very vanilla. And this piece needs to measure 3 3/4. And that is right there at it, so we're good. So now we'll have this to go inside. And what I want to do is find a stamp set that has a beautiful birthday sentiment. The beautiful balloons. I think it's time for a celebration. I love that. And I think that's what I'm going to put on the inside. And then underneath it, that happy birthday. So we're going to do that with the Night of Navy ink. So I'm going to pull out my nap that I want to stamp on. And I think I'm going to use this little Magnolia right here. And we're going to stamp that in the corner. But let's load everything up and get everything like we want it first. So there's that one. Then we need the little flower. I think I want it right about there. Let's do our birthday sentiment first, and then we can decide where we want that. So, Night of Navy, a Night of Navy ink pad. Beautiful. And then our happy birthday. And then our little flower. Perfect. All right, and I'm just going to wipe our ink off right there. Now we're ready to go ahead and put this card together. All right, so the first thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and mat this on here. Again, I'm going to use liquid glue. Like that. Oh, that pretty. I love the way that turned out. Now we're ready to put this whole mat inside of our card. So again, some liquid glue because it's my favorite. Always double check to make sure that I'm putting my um, inside in the right direction. It would be so sad to glue this in upside down after all this work. But believe me, I have done it. All right, so there is our beautiful birthday card. Who wouldn't love this? Their birthday. Isn't that so pretty? I think it turned out absolutely stunning. And I think it has an elegance to it. The gold heat embossing, the luster paste that I used, or the luster wax, the little accents of gold on it, and combined with that beautiful night of navy, I just think it turned out absolutely stunning. Let me know in the video, under the video, what you think, and if this would be something that you would be interested in making. And if it is, you can reach out to me to purchase any of the products you saw me use today. And I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in once again. God bless and keep you. And as I always say in closing, let everything that you do and say bring honor to our Savior. He is worthy. So until we craft again, God bless and keep you. Bye bye.